Hannah Oli Pop Rock Radio. Estás escuchando Jamie Roxx de Pop Rock Radio. Manténganse al tanto.
Hej, det här är Hits från Sverige och vi lyssnar till Pop Rock Radio med Jamie Roxx.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is the Pop Roxx Radio Talk Show. I'm your host, pop art painter Jamie Roxx, and this is the big show. You found it. I'm glad you did. Out of the thousands and millions and gazillion podcasts out there, you're taking time to watch and listen to ours. See, audio folks, I didn't forget about you. Thank you for your continued support. Really appreciate it. Okay, today I am super excited because we've got one guest who's a returning guest and a brand new guest, but together they have created something that I am dying to see. It's called Silent Bite. It's a new holiday movie, and we're going to talk all about it, featuring bank robbers and vampires. Two of my favorite, we were just talking about it before we came on the air, two of my favorite subjects. Anybody who's seen my art knows, they're like, we get it, Jamie. It's another vampire painting. We get it. Paint a lighthouse. What's wrong with you? No, I say no to lighthouses because vampires don't like them. Anyhow, welcome guests. We've got Miss or Mrs., I don't mean to offend or anything, director of the film, Taylor Martin, with us, and actor and writer, Mr. Simon Phillips. Hello, guys. How are you?
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
So, Simon, you and I are wearing Christmas colors, red and green.
We deliberately called and planned it, Jamie. So
yes.
I was like, so that we color coordinated before we got on here.
Yeah.
I can picture you guys on the phone. What are you going to wear? No, what are you going to wear?
That was the exact call.
Yeah, teen girls. I'm kidding. Simon, no, we had talked last time you were on the show. Did you mention the vampire movie coming up? Because I remember being excited about some upcoming project that you had mentioned.
Maybe.
I don't know if it was this,
my memory.
Though.
Yes, and that's not a thing to do, Jamie, testing my memory. So let's go ahead and lie, and I'll just say, yes, this is the movie I was talking about.
Well, I was very surprised. When I got your email, I watched the trailer, and I was like, this is effing brilliant. This is brilliant.
It is a frosty 12 degrees outside, so keep those chestnuts roasting on the open fire, or else you'll get some frostbite in some unexpected places.
What was that? It was like a scream.
Something else.
You go with him.
Run.
Those things, they really are what you say they are.
Hey man, we got big problems.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we need a way out of here. What the hell are we still doing here?
Couldn't agree more. Grab the door. Vampires.
Listen, they want you to run. They're hunting you.
Yummy.
We don't know what the hell she is.
Do not lie to me. In this world, we're the hunters.
Checking in.
What a concept. Guys, I like crime movies. I'll watch anything that's a crime movie or show or anything. And then you add some vampires in the mix too. And a hot female vampire in there too, I saw. That's fish in the barrel for me. I am your target audience for that. And I can't be the only one. It's amazing. Taylor, what did you first think? Did you come into the project after the script was written, or did you get a taste of it before? Like, hey, I got this concept, this idea. How did that process happen?
I had met Simon at a Buffalo Film Festival where, respectively, my short film and his feature film, What Lurks Beneath, had won best films in their category. And then we just got to chatting, and he asked if I would ever do I think it started out, might have been zombies, but then it turned into vampires later on. And the script was largely written when I was hired and then tweaked here and there along the way. And then even on set still some collab and things like that. But largely Simon had it ready to go. And it was fairly easy to help him knock it out of the park with the setup.
Nice. Nice. Now let me ask you also, I was curious, now you're at the helm. The ship is under your control. You're directing this thing.
Yes.
And a lot of directors that I know and have met and whatnot, they usually start out in front of the camera before they make that move to behind the camera. Was that the case in your career, or do you also act in front of the camera as well as direct?
I do. I am an acclaimed actor around the world and writer as well. And then in the last two years, I started producing and directing. And Simon happened to catch me when I was about a year and 8 shorts in. But if I hadn't gotten that start, I don't think I would have understood quite how to work with actors or speak their language. So I feel one of them.
Hey everybody, the cool thing, we were just talking and I wanted to, Taylor's got something she would like to address, and I agree with her. I think it's important, and she's such a cool director and such a cool female director. Taylor, take it away. Tell everybody the issues you've seen in the press and whatnot.
I've just been seeing a lot of just ambiguity, and it's nobody's fault or anything, but I am in fact a young female director and not a male director. I understand my name, Taylor, is very ambiguous, but it's so important to me to represent females in this industry, and especially in a leadership role in the front office, being a female, being someone that can command a room and respect both men and women. A lot of higher ups on my team are very wonderful men that I work very well with. But yes, I just would love to just step right into that. I'm a female horror filmmaker and have that be the business avenue that I've been down.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Have you had, and excuse my again, I'm an old man, and when Me Too happened, Taylor, I was one of those idiot guys that were like, oh, that's an issue? I had no idea, because I didn't. And not because it was so well, it's I'm an idiot, and I wasn't as observant as I probably should have been. And obviously, I've worked on things. I had a good friend of mine, she says, Jamie, you say the word gal a lot. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. I wore a hair tie on my wrist for like a month, and every time I'd catch myself doing it, I'd snap it to try to, because I'd read in some psychology book that you can do that to break habits. It still sneaks out once in a while. It still sneaks out, but I'm trying. I hope you haven't had negative, bad thing, but you probably have.
Honestly, I feel very well respected by the people that I work with. I feel, I feel like Simon would very much for other energy that wouldn't let me fail even if I tried. And so I know that he was protecting me on set, and I know I have mentioned on my before outside of this one that, I am in charge, and I actually have a female producer on my team who is also in charge, and we need to all be respectful and everything. And if I ever feel disrespected, I don't hold down on the I try to address it fairly appropriately. And I surround myself with people that will never, ever, ever treat me less than what I deserve. And this was exactly that experience. I was treated wonderfully. Never an issue.
Well, yeah, that's because you're hanging out with cool cats like Simon.
She didn't say that, Jamie.
I didn't say any of that. Don't put words in my mouth there. Good God.
There you go. I'm doing it again. Hey, thank you so much. And keep being an inspiration to young filmmakers out there. She's doing it, folks. She's doing it. She's directing movies. How cool is that?
Well, that's and just a shout out in Taylor's direction. That's how I met Taylor. Is like I saw she was at a film festival where a short film was screening and indeed won an award, and that's how you should be an inspiration to people like that. Getting out there and doing it is exactly what she's doing, and that's exactly what took her to this movie. And I'm sure we'll take it beyond this movie. That's exactly the attitude.
That's cool. That's cool. And see, folks, I'm telling you, because I know everybody has a dream. But I'll tell you a secret, folks, and Taylor and Simon can both attest to this. And I don't know if it's these competition shows like The Voice or these we're going to make you famous with none of the work. I don't know how sustainable that is. Everybody I know who's doing something and getting things done, they put in a lot of work. It's never easy.
Than any other job I've ever had, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's cool. That's cool. Simon, I wanted to ask you, one of the things that is very indicative of every indie filmmaker I know is the amount of hats that they wear and are comfortable wearing, whether that be through necessity or just how it is. You seem to be one of those people as well. You have no problem going into roles, not just character roles, but production roles as well. Is that something that's just been experience, or have you always been that way?
I don't know if I've always been that way, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the filmmaking process. So to me, I like to get, if I'm doing something, you have 100% of me doing it. So
Nice.
In any aspect I can help out. Like if I could do makeup, I do makeup, but whatever I could bring to the table skills wise, I do it. Not that I did makeup, sorry, but it's like whatever else I could do around the actual movie to help the movie, I would do. Like in this movie, I did a number of things. I even flew the drones to get some of our drone footage. Like on the day, it's like, well, we all wear a bunch of different hats. You know, Taylor knows this as well, that there's no just directing or probably just acting. You have to have your producer hat on. Taylor's actually in the movie as well, where you'll see. Like, so everybody on any given day has definitely more than one job to do, and I find that actually helps with collaborative indie filmmaking, because that brings every that team spirit, which you can't really buy. So you have to kind of forge that in fire.
Well, and that's one of the things I think that's makes indie film so cool, and I am such a fan. And I'll tell you, I think everybody has a better appreciation after the COVID crisis, because all of our shows, all of our big Hollywood production shows and television shows and movies couldn't work. And we, as the audience, were forced to figure out what's funny. Before COVID, people of a certain age, no disrespect to anybody, would call me or my wife all the time, how do you get the Roku to work? How does this work? How does that work? After COVID, everybody's an expert at that shit. You know what I mean? They can stream a movie, no problem. And you guys, I think the independent film saved us all from, frankly, I don't know how they did it in 1918 with books, but you guys gave us something. We had stuff to watch. It wasn't just, and some shows, The Blacklist tried to do a little animated thing and worked for an episode, but you can't sustain a show like that. I don't know. I think it's cool. I think you guys have the coolest job in the world. Did you, Taylor, when you were a young lass, were you a video gal? Did you know that filmmaker was in the cards for you? Is that what the plan was?
I knew. I knew for sure around 15. And then I went and had a family and got into healthcare instead. I still work in healthcare now. But I'm making the transition as we speak.
I gotcha. Well, nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Any listeners out there, viewers, whatever, trust me from experience. You may be Picasso, but there is nothing wrong with having a day job or something else, preferably if it has healthcare attached to it. That's always a plus. That when you're young, you think it's not important until it is. How about you, Simon? Do you film? You grew up in was it Ireland? No, it was England, right?
I was born in Ireland, but I grew up in London, really.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. I have a slightly privileged background in that my mother was an actress, so this is not as alien to me as it might be to other people, which makes it harder for them to get into. So when Taylor makes the same journey that I make into film, if she had nobody before her, like she actually covers twice as much ground. It's actually a bit more of an achievement. Mine was, my mother was an actress, my dad was in a band, very famous band. So,
Nice. Simon got away with nothing, I bet. His parents were like, yeah. We didn't, not only we heard it before, Simon, we invented it. Come on.
Exactly. So in some ways it's harder, but in some ways, obviously, I had all that help and support, because it wasn't very alien to me. The world, it wasn't hard to get into the world. I had a foot in the door already. So
that's cool, man. Taylor, did you have crazy parents with crazy jobs like that as well?
No, the opposite. I used to wish they were cooler.
Yeah, me too. Me too. You go to school and they're like, what does your dad do for a living? I'm like, he works at the factory like every other
Yeah, literally
kid
did
in
work at the
here.
factory. My mom worked in dietechnician in a nursing home for a
Yeah.
long time. Now she's in banking. So I think I'm the
Nobody
cool
was pulling in going, I just got back from Ibiza with my movie star mom and rock star dad. Jeez, Simon. Must have been nice. Cool guy. And he's got a British accent.
I know.
He had to be
brutal
beating the women off.
Well, not in. You have to remember, Jamie. In England, we all have British accents. That's just how people talk.
Yeah, but it's cool to us.
It's not very. It's not very impressive where I grew up. It's like everybody has that.
I'm telling you, you needed to hit you needed to hit a nightclub in Toledo, Ohio. You would have been the king. The king. They'd be carrying you around.
If only that was true, but I would also have to get a job as well, Jamie. Like, you can't just go around to nightclubs and Toledo trying to get free drinks, you know.
What you got to do,
great, don't get me wrong, but
the easiest job in the nightclub, just become a DJ. With a British accent? Oh my gosh.
I feel like DJs don't talk that much, though.
They make a lot of money, though.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Exactly. They make Simon's mom and dad money if they do it right. It's nice. Lighting cigars with $100 bill. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sure your folks.
I'm kidding. I do actually have a cigar right here.
I knew it. I knew it. Taylor, how do you feel about cigars? I'm curious. I was just at a party the other day, the other evening, and a pizza party. The person I know had a big pizza oven, and so me and the wife are sitting there at this kind of high top table, and there's a guy sitting right on this lower outdoor sofa type thing, and he lights up a stogie, and the fumes just wafted over my wife, and the look on her face. I'm sure he didn't realize any of this was happening, but she was not impressed. Are you a cigar fan or not so much?
Oh, your wife might not like me then. I actually do like cigars. I don't hate them. But I also have like a lot of masculine energy, which I actually think is why I love this movie so much, because it's just a very boys against girls scenario, and I have masculine traits, I have feminine traits, so it was really fun for me to watch them duke it out and be right in the middle of it.
Nice. But that's probably good, though. That's probably good as a director because you can pick the card you need to play with the person or the situation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Some people, I imagine, would respond better, more masculine sternness, and some people maybe, if you got the mom voice in you, you know what I mean?
I have that too.
Yeah, right away. I'll make it the scene right. No, there won't be no retakes. One shot. That's all we need. Depends on the person. Very cool. And she's got a cat.
I do.
Simon, I bet you have cats. Are you a cat guy?
No.
No? You got a dog?
Wow. Say no more offended. Jeez.
I hate cats, Jamie. That was a total wrong read of me as a person.
Really? Well, I'm just curious.
It's your card again.
You seem like it.
I don't know.
Because you're tough looking. You're very tough looking. And usually
why does that mean I would have a cat?
He's got that Deadpool vibe where he's got the tiny little misfit dog.
Exactly. That's usually what
and I go, no.
Yeah.
This is Pebbles.
Big guys, big tough guys always have those also. Those little, and I don't understand it. We have friends that have them, and I'm just like, oh, I couldn't handle it. Yeah, I don't know. No, what do you have? Like a big python or something? Like a snake or something?
I don't have any pets. Listen, I travel because I travel so much, I can't.
I got
actually.
He's too successful for pets. Come on.
Yeah, like you have to leave at a moment's notice usually to do these things. So somebody like, hey, can you look after my dog or my cat? And people go, no, and you're like, okay, now I've got a big problem. I have to turn down some crazy movie because I can't get someone to look after my cat.
He's right.
Which is not
you just take it out on her. You just take it out on the cat. Get out of here.
I did, but that's why the cat's dead. So, which solved the problem. I ate the cat last Christmas. That's how
the cat or the infinity pool. What's it gonna be? I use my dog all the time to get out of shit, man. We have our American Thanksgiving this Thursday, and I've already told the wife, I'm like, if we're going over at 4:00, I don't know how much more past 6. With your family, I'll put in a couple hours, no problem. And she's like, You have to get home to feed the dog. You know that. Thank you. That's why I love you.
I hope none of your family subscribe to the podcast, because you might just have given that away ahead of Thursday.
Oh, they all know. They all know. If I tell them I have a show, they're like, yeah, sure he does. No, I'm at that age. I'm an old man. You have this to look forward to, Simon, where your capacity for patience drains very quickly.
We're talking about, I'm already an old man. I already have zero tolerance for incompetence.
Patience.
You know,
so oh my goodness.
I hate it.
Well, you're good at it because you work with patients all day. I'm kidding. I'm teasing. That was a terrible dad joke. So back to the film, Silent Bite. This is, I think it's great because it's got a holiday twist to it, and so that means you're going to be played on TNT or the equivalent of whatever cable network ad nauseum for the next 2 decades. Perfect. This movie will be on, like Die Hard or something. I think that's great. That's very smart.
Love that for us.
Yeah. That's infinity pool money. That's infinity pool money.
We hope. Yeah, holiday horror is something that's very close to my heart. I've actually made a couple of Christmas horror movies in the past, and they do come back every year. So every Christmas, there's a resurgence of them and people watching them again, and then I get some messages about it. So it is. I'm hoping that this is obviously our first year for Silent Bite, but the first of many. So yeah, that would be great if that was true.
Oh yeah. Well, the gang could get back together on some other heist or something, and then
I think we probably need to watch
lay low somewhere.
Maybe not make assumptions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
In a film, Jamie, where it's girls, who do you think wins, just in general?
But if the girls are vampires, that means that they're... Well, it depends. Are they cool? Are they tough vampires? Or are they, like, weak vampires?
Well, they're vampires. Inherently, they're stronger than any man or woman that's a human. So just in general.
I gotcha. Because I got to tell you, what was that movie? What was it called? The one in Alaska where it was 30 days and... Was it 30 Days a Night or whatever? To me, personally, those were the scariest vampires I'd ever seen in a film. That's why I want to see Silent Bite, because maybe these are scarier. Don't get me wrong, folks. I thought Tom Cruise killed it in Interview with the Vampire, but let's pinky out vampires. Let's kill somebody and have some tea. These vampires that I've seen in Silent Bite in the trailer, they don't look like pinky out vampires.
What's wrong with vampires that want to kill someone and have some tea? That sounds very British, actually. I'd quite enjoy that.
Yeah. These guys look like they're...
I quite like that vampires can be very violent and very civilized all at the same time.
They're very Renaissance-y. They're romantics.
Yeah, I quite enjoy that little aspect.
They have emotional awareness.
That's why they're not werewolves or zombies. They're elegant and
indeed
classy.
Well, yeah, they're hot women. They might kiss or something. I'm kidding, folks. It's not that kind of a film.
You don't know that.
It's not.
You don't know that.
I don't know that. It could be.
We're not wedding ourselves to an answer that like that. What are you talking about? That's ridiculous.
That's right. It could be. Oh, I can't think of her name. Oh, she was really hot in Paris.
You'll have to help us there, Jamie. She was really hot. Is like you could have been describing anybody in the film business ever there.
That's very true. That is.
You ruled out nobody really.
I had a friend of mine years ago, and she was from Minneapolis, and she was just drop dead gorgeous. Looked like a model that just rolled in off a Vogue shoot. And she moved to Hollywood, to LA, to get into the film business. And she went on her first, I think she said she was telling me, like 10 or 15 interviews. And they said, we can't use you. There's 75 of you exactly the same out in the waiting area here. And she was very beautiful, but she was beautiful in those classic ways that nobody was looking for it. I don't know the movie business, but it didn't surprise me, No, that brings a good question. When you guys are casting, do you primarily, as indie filmmakers, I know you got to cut corners where you can or save a buck where you can. Do you primarily cast people or like from the scene and whatnot that are going to have to fly in necessarily? They can drive to the shoot?
Well, on this project, the script was written around people specifically for the roles.
Nice.
So it was, yes, they were people that we knew, but it wasn't a convenience sake. It was actually the script was written in their voices. So because it made it easier to write it, going, oh, Michael Swatton will say this, Nick Biscobek will say that. You get one Sailor will say this, will say that. It's like with those. Because I knew those people personally, then writing the script becomes very easy because they sound a certain way, they have a certain tone of voice and they were playing a certain character. It's a lot easier to write a script with.
Yes.
I don't know if you're ever writing a script, but you often see writers actually have photos of the people that are playing the parts, even if it's like Tom Cruise or something. They can have it because it makes it easier to remember that that's how that guy speaks, or when you're writing dialogue between 4 or 5 people.
You guys have to have the coolest parties ever. You know all these people, they're all actors and making movies and stuff. It's either incredibly cool when you guys throw a party, or it just quickly goes into film speak. And
I think, yeah, some
sometimes.
Yeah. I'll let Taylor answer.
The ticket for me is never talk about film when you're at a film party. I think it seems to go a long way when you socialize with people that you aren't too familiar with, if you really just try and get to know them or just have them and try and make them laugh, things like that.
I would agree. Like I feel like a real bunch of actors and stuff actually don't talk about film at parties because we all know that we're in movies. It's like talking about The Office when you're away from the office.
Right.
A little on the nose.
Yeah,
I gotcha. Yeah, in the art world, it's the same thing. Matter of fact, artists don't have that cool of parties. That's why we hang out with filmmakers and people in music and stuff, because they usually do.
Actors need zero persuasion to have a party.
Right. And the reason that I feel like our parties are so cool is because we just came through the trenches together and trauma bonded, so the parties are really good.
Now that's awesome. This was filmed in Canada, right? So did you go over there for an extended period of time, Taylor, or were you going back and forth all the time?
I stayed about 10 days. I went up for a few days of prep, and then I stayed in a bubble. I don't think I ever left the hotel.
Our place was in the filming location, it was up in a place called Parry Sound in Canada. It's pretty much in the middle of nowhere, like it looks like it is.
Very isolated.
So it made it really good because we were all together, like all the time, and it was also night shoots all the time. So it was
everybody was asleep.
Long hard nights. You know.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, was the people where you were filming the location, was everybody excited? Because that would be pretty exciting to me that, hey, they're making a movie down the street here. How cool is that?
I think it was so isolated that maybe no one knew except for some guests. I don't know.
Every now and then, the hotel would have people that were staying there, and they would like, they're doing what? And they're like, oh, they're making a movie, and they'll be like, it would. So the only people really that were consistently excited about it, I think, were the hotel staff.
Oh yeah,
still mesmerized that we were there for as long as we were there for.
I gotcha. The biggest thing in our little town here, a couple years ago, The Rock, and they remade. It flopped. It was terrible. They made a Baywatch. They were making movies out of all these old shows, so they made Baywatch, and they filmed a bunch of it here locally, where we're at, and the whole town freaked out. Everybody went down to the pier, and the director actually, or I don't know if it was the director, it was probably one of the director's people. Some guy had to get out with a bullhorn and tell everybody, okay, we love that you're here and excited, but you need to go over on this street so we can't see you in the shot. Why would there be 1,000 people standing there gaping like idiots? But yeah, it was, the whole town freaked out. There
wasn't anyway. We were far enough away instead of saying we were isolated on this one, so there wasn't much of a. People didn't know we were there, which is perfect because we didn't need the
distraction. It was that.
How long was this? Because you guys, I can't even wrap my head around sometimes when people make movies, and indie movies or big movies, feature films or whatever. It's the enormity of it. You know, when I want to do a project, it's easy peasy. I go get a canvas, or they send the canvas, and I sit down and do it. It's not a big deal. Even putting on a show isn't that a big deal. You do that 20 times, you're done. Set it up. Now, you guys, it probably took some time, right? From conception, like having the idea for this, to where we are now promoting it.
Well, it's always about a year process. So
Wow.
I can't remember exactly where we were a year ago today, Taylor.
Signed on right about now.
Okay.
And then once things firmed up with dates, then we locked in for a few weeks of pre-production, and I handled my team here, freelance them, and then we joined you guys up there, and then we shot. And I don't think people realize how blue-collary, physically demanding filmmaking is, especially when you're a tight crew with this heavy lift. It's very, very grueling and taxing, and you have to really look out for each other, take breaks, and teamwork.
Nobody get hernias or anything. That's
we
crazy.
were cold. We were very cold. I'm still cold.
It's very cold and long
cold.
nights.
Yeah, you couldn't even warm up in the sun. It's Canada. It's
well, it didn't matter. It was still minus 20 anyway.
It was brutal.
Oh,
brutal. But the nice part was that you could just wake up and go right to work. Like you literally just crossed the parking lot. You're at work. You lived at work. It was wonderful.
Yeah, we didn't leave. Like we ate. Like everybody ate at the hotel, drank at the hotel. Nobody went anywhere.
No.
Because the days were so long and everyone was so tired. Because the night shoot, obviously you go for night shoots and you're like, right, so try and sleep during the day. And obviously what happens is people sleep half the day, but then they get up. And they don't need to get up, but they do because they're like, oh, the sun's shining. I feel like I should be awake.
Yeah, it's strange.
That makes night shoots hard. So people were pretty
That's
tired.
so true. Because if you don't get enough sleep, and I've played that game so many times where the game of, I'll get 2 hours now, and then I'll do a little work, and then I'll pick up another 2. No, at the next day, you're looking like Frankenstein. You're wandering around. Oh, I can't move. It's just, you're not properly right. Yeah, you got 6 hours of sleep, but if it's cut up like that, that's no good.
Adrenaline is very, very weird in the middle of the night. Like I am not a night owl, but we all adjusted very well. It was the coming back that was more difficult. And yeah, my adrenaline was keeping me going to the point where I did sleep half days, if that, and was like ready to go and just completely wired. I don't think I ever crashed.
Are you a big sleeper, Taylor?
No, I don't really sleep in. I'm a morning person, but
I am too.
The only prep I had was Simon telling me like a night or two before, he's like, stay up tonight, get used to it. And so I did. I ended up watching all his old movies for inspiration.
By the way, I didn't make Taylor do that. Hey, you're gonna watch all my old movies. There's a test in the morning.
Now, Simon, you've done a whole bunch of movies and this and that. You've been through the shoot on this kind of stuff. Do you still get a little nervous when you're starting out, or is it just because are things planned and things happen? I get that.
I've been on very big movies that have very big plans, and I know that it doesn't mean shit when you get set. You can have the best intention and plan in the world, and when you get there, something will always come up that you didn't think about, or something will always play like you didn't expect it. That's not the size of the movie or the number of cast or the experience of anybody involved. That's just life getting in the way. These things can't be that planned. And you have to be able to roll with that. Rolling with it is what makes indie film go, I think. I don't know what changed on the way when we made this movie, but I know a ton of stuff did. And it's everybody's ability, Taylor's and her teams and the cast, and everybody's ability to roll with the punches. And when you guys watch the movie, hopefully you won't see any of that. You don't see that we just changed that location from a hotel room to a function room, or we did something completely different that we were like, no, we're going to do this and swap that around and so on and so forth. And nobody will feel any of that when they watch the movie, which is great. The movie came together spectacularly well. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean it was easy to execute, but I think it came together well because of everybody. Dedication.
The level of difficulty was high, and everybody's attitudes. It had all of the makings to basically just go The Shining on each other. You're isolated at this hotel. There's long, grueling days. It's very tiring, as with any film. Sometimes things don't go, and there's always playing catch up. But I don't think anybody had an issue. I don't think anybody fought. I don't think anybody was unkind, and I think walking away from that experience personally, knowing that my team was well respected and respected everyone else, merged well, and everybody had something to say, and this movie would not exist if one component was missing. Everybody brought something to the table, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience.
That's cool. That is cool. Now, folks, we have a link. I know that it is available. You can buy it on Amazon, and we have a link down below to that. No, it's probably going to hit the other streaming services and whatnot also, I imagine, right?
I don't know.
I got you.
They don't. I'm the last person to know anything. So I know that they hit their DVD and Blu-ray first because that's what they wanted to do. And I'm sure just before Christmas, because these guys aren't insane, they will make it available streaming wise, because that would be crazy if they didn't. But I don't know. I don't know yet when that will happen. People always think that we know first when the last people.
No,
I know even less than him. So
yeah,
everything's a surprise for me. Everything's a Christmas present.
That's how it is. That's how it is.
Sometimes I get my information by somebody telling me, "Oh, I see the movie's coming out on the 12th of November," and the reason that they know that is because they send me. I was like, "Oh, no, it is because there's Amazon have got it. Like, you can pre-order it now." And then I ring the distributor and go, "Is it coming out on the 12th of November?" And they're like, "Yeah, did we not tell you?" Like, no. Someone on the movie looked it up and told me.
I'm only Father Christmas in the movie. Come on, man. Come on. No, I get it.
I was just happy, actually, on this one, Jamie, that they had you don't see this very much nowadays, but a DVD and Blu-ray. Not every film that we do gets a DVD and Blu-ray anymore because people don't collect them as much as they do. Although I hear that in horror movies they're making a bit of a resurgence. So
all my horror friends, going to their house, and they've got it's like this wall of DVDs and Blu-rays, but the horror people I know are they're almost hard to watch a good movie with because they're like, say, that guy's spleen didn't blow up the prop.
Yeah.
Like, what do you?
It's definitely it can be a fickle fandom, but if you win them over, they're probably yours for life. And it is tough. You can't really reinvent the wheel anymore, but you can do your best to provide an entertaining atmosphere that can just take people out of their day to day for a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, it's like I said, there's link, folks. I want you all to get it. What a great Christmas gift. What a great Christmas gift.
Great stocking stuffer this would be. Yeah, absolutely.
And especially if you have a relative or a friend that just watches Hallmark love Christmas movies, get them this just for a change of pace. Put this in. You've all had dinner.
So it works for everybody.
There you go. Well, you guys keep making movies and keep doing what you're doing because as a fan and as an audience member out here, so thankful that you guys are making cool stuff and keeping indie film going. That's where it is.
Thank you for giving us a little bit of a platform on your show.
Thank you. Very much appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Anytime, man. Anytime. Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up for us. I want everybody to, like I said, it's a crazy week. It's Thanksgiving week here in the States. Be patient. I am going to try to be patient, folks. Yeah.
Jamie, you just told us you were going to make an excuse after just 2 hours to leave.
I feel like I'm going to be patient for 2 hours. For 2 hours, I'm going to be patient.
I don't think if you can predict your patience in a time, I don't think that is being patient.
There's precursors. I know the crowd that will be there and the age and what the conversation will most likely be. So I'm going to try to be Simon Phillips patient.
I don't know if you want to be
Simon Phillips with a cat patient. That's what I'm going to try to be.
Yes.
What's the worst that could happen?
The cat dies. You know what happens to the... I told you that. That's the worst.
I'll be remaking Thanksgiving. No, I'm kidding. Hey, now there's a holiday movie that I've seen too many times and probably shouldn't have. Every time I ask myself why, but it's just so fun. Anyway, have a good one, everybody. Be patient, be cool, and the only ask of you all out there is don't wind up if you're traveling, don't wind up in a YouTube Karen video compilation. I will find those hilarious, but you won't win against the cops. That's my advice. Lay off the booze, get to where you need to be. Have a good one, everybody.
This has been pop art painter Jamie Roxx's Pop Roxx Radio Talk Show. It has been executive produced by Jamie Roxx, recorded at his studio in Deerfield Beach in South Florida. All rights reserved by Pop Roxx Limited.
Hannah Oli Pop Roxx Radio. Estás escuchando Jamie Roxx de Pop Roxx Radio. Manténganse al tanto.
Hej, det här är Hicks från Sverige och ni lyssnar till Pop Roxx Radio med Jamie Roxx.